Good afternoon, and thanks for tuning in to this episode of Ticor Title Tuesday at 2. My name is Natalie Turley. I'm filling in for Ryan Pulliam. I'm your sales executive at Ticor Title. It is July and it is hot out there right now, and we are used to the summer months being hot, but what we're not used to is what's going on in the real estate market right now. So today I have a special guest. Her name is Alicia Cruz-Rivera. She's a realtor at EasyStreet Realty, and she's also been one of my good friends and clients for quite some time. So welcome, Alicia, for joining us.
Hey, Natalie, how are you today?
Good, thanks. So do you want to give the audience a little bit about yourself and what your role is at EasyStreet?
I'm a realtor at EasyStreet Realty, and I'm also the training coordinator. I help the agents, new and experienced, kind of get their feel for the market, learn what all the newest trends are, and how to help our clients with that information.
Perfect. So can you talk about what happened in June in the real estate market? What did it look like?
Well, it was definitely different than last June and definitely different from the month before. We're definitely seeing a decrease in closings, not a dramatic decrease. We saw for condos and townhomes about a 22% decrease in closings from May to June and 24.7% decrease in closings for single family residences from May to June. So a little bit of a slowdown.
Right. So do you think the decrease in closings, what do you think the reason is for that? Do you think there's less demand? Is it rates? Why are we seeing a decrease in closings?
Well, I think the demand is always there for Las Vegas. We have a really unique market here. The number one buyer in Las Vegas are retirees, and retirees retire any day of the week, any week of the month, any month of the year. So our demand does stay constant. I think what's slowing down right now, people, are the rates. They keep hearing rates are increasing, and they are. I mean, they're up about 3% from 6 months ago, and that's a huge increase for people. And when rates go up, it decreases buying power. I think people are very nervous about that right now. And I also think that once you see a low rate, it's really hard to get past that number and get acquainted with the new number.
Oh yeah, definitely. Especially seeing that mortgage payment when it's that different.
Yes.
So with the slower volume in closings, what is our inventory looking like compared to last year, last month? What's happened with that?
That's actually a great question. So I actually pulled some stats. LVR just came out with their latest housing stats for us. So our lowest point of inventory, let's start there with February 22, was for condos and townhomes, we had 669 together. And then we only had 1,741 homes on the market this February. Now we have about 5,200 homes on the market right now. So that is a big increase. But if we look at our lowest point of data for last year, it was actually in January, February of last year, and it was 624 condos and townhomes versus 669 for 2022, and 1,677 single family residences versus 1,741 this year. So believe it or not, the lowest point of inventory from this year to last year is actually not that different.
Wow, that's amazing. So how much has it increased last month, the inventory, though? Have we seen a huge increase with the inventory?
Yes, about 2,170 single-family residences and about 543 condos and townhomes.
Okay. And what's driving the median sales price? Did that change from last month to this month? And what do you think is making the changes in the median sales price?
Well, I think, first, let me unpack that a little bit. From last month to this month, it dropped slightly. So condos and townhomes went down $5,000 from $285 a median sales price last month to $280 this month. And the single family residences only decreased $2,000. So it was $482,000 last month, and now it's $480,000. I think to account for that slight difference is that we're seeing as more inventory hits the market, sellers have become more negotiable. When there was only 1,700 homes on the market and there were no choices, then, buyers didn't have a choice. It was kind of give the seller what they want, close the deal, get the house.
Right.
Now we have a little bit more choices, so I think that sellers are a little bit more negotiable, and they're realizing that they're not the only competition on the block right now.
Right, and that makes sense. So with sellers being more negotiable, you work with buyers and sellers.
Yes.
What's happening with your buyers right now with their ability to buy with those interest rates rising?
Well, like I said, increasing rates decrease purchasing power. But with our number one buyer being retirees, our number two buyer being the move up, move down buyer, meaning, our number two buyer, our number two buyer is our second home buyer, and our third are investors. It makes over 60% of our market non-local. And what that means is that most people come here cash heavy, or they've cashed out from places like California, where we get a huge influx of people moving here because Vegas is a bargain for them. So they do come here a little cash heavy, but are rate sensitive, some of them. But for those that have a need to buy, it's kind of like, what can I afford? And let's just get there.
Right, right. So your sellers, when you worked with them last year, they were used to getting multiple offers, things flying off the shelves, getting $30,000 to $50,000 over asking. So is that happening anymore? Have the days on market changed? Where do we stand with that?
Well, when I used to see one day on market and you're calling the agent like, hi, do you have any offers? Yes, we have 15, we have 20. Right, that's still changing a little bit, especially in the higher end market. I mean, $1 million homes were flying off the shelves. They're sitting there now. I think that when you're anything below the median household price of about $480,000, you're still going to see a lot of competition because that's the affordability factor right there. Also for investors, they're looking to buy below the median household price so that you can gain some appreciation. So I think that once you hit above a certain price point, you're going to see a lot more days on market or longer time sitting there, more negotiation from the seller. I think in the lower price points, you're still seeing a lot of competition and you just maybe not the first day flying off the shelf.
Right. So a huge topic lately has been whoever you listen to or watch on social media or the news or your friends, whoever your influence is, they might be on one side or the other. Is there going to be a crash, or is right now the best time to hurry and get into the market? What are your thoughts on Las Vegas? Are we going to see a crash, or are we going to continue going in the same direction?
Okay, well, I think that 2008 left such a bad taste in everybody's mouth for so long, and that the people who sat the market out, kept their properties, and have now realized that equity, or have finally sold their homes and have cashed out. Relief for them. But for other people who are still remembering it and scared to jump in this market, let's just talk about the inventory levels during the crash and what's going on right now. So in February of 2008, there were 29,000 properties on the market. That was condos, townhomes, and single family residences. And as you can see from today, where we're about like 7,000 total properties, we're nowhere near that mark. So it's just simple economics, supply and demand. Our demand stays constant and supply is very low. I'm sure everybody's read, about this in the news, that we're in a nationwide housing shortage. So that being said, if there's a housing shortage and people need something, I think that keeps price rising. I keep up with Keeping Matters Current, Inman News, and different things like that, in addition to LVR stats, and watching that demand in Las Vegas stay constant. It's kind of like an EKG reading. It goes up and down, the inventory levels, but demand does stay constant. It's just how many people show up this month to buy versus how many homes were on the market.
Yeah, well, and I've kind of seen Vegas change a little bit since I've been here with all the sports. I mean, we have so many different things to bring in a desire to live here now with, the Knights and the Raiders and all the growth. So we have that going for us. With your clients, I'm sure it's hard to kind of educate all them and keep them so that they're not panicking or anything. What do you do to keep their expectations normal and not expect what they had in the past?
Well, part of my business model is full transparency. I like to give everybody upfront what's going on with the market. So I've always done what a buyer presentation or a seller's presentation, and what that entails is going over the market. So really all that's changed for me is just the numbers that we're going over. And based on those numbers, what expectations can I help you set here? Because I think that if we set expectations from the beginning of the transaction, then there's no surprises.
Right.
I always feel like if you pull the surprise out of the transaction, then it goes a lot smoother. My job is to help my buyers or sellers make this transition as easy as possible, because buying or selling a home can be really stressful. But, with experts or, people who do this every day, those things that become like a big deal to the buyer or seller because it's just happened to them is something that I deal with every day. So I do my best to kind of head that off. I let them know what's going to happen in the transaction, what's going on in the market. And because I do work with buyers and sellers, I'm able to kind of give that buyer and seller mentality to the person that I'm speaking to, and then we go from there. Every situation is unique, and every buyer and seller are unique because of what they can afford, what their needs are, and what they're hoping to accomplish with this purchase or sale.
Well, and real estate purchases are so emotional sometimes that I'm sure it's trying to keep all those emotions at bay.
It sure is. I mean, when you have a home and you've put a lot of time and effort and you've lovingly taken care of it and you're very proud of the home that you've had all these years, it's very hard to watch other people walk through your house or give you a number that makes you feel like maybe it's not worth that. But there's a difference between actual market value and subjective value.
So my house isn't worth $1 million.
Well, Natalie, to you it might be, and that'd be subjective.
So when you are preparing with your clients, have you had to change your your business model at all with the market changing? Have you had to change your marketing or anything like that?
No, because I actually believe in education up front. As I mentioned, I do a consultation with them. So whatever's going on in the market, my clients are going to know at that moment. And because I keep a steady pulse on the market, I'm really lucky that EasyStreet Realty keeps a track of the market. We track the 6 most popular parts of the city. So depending on where you're looking, I know exactly what's going on inventory level wise, and mostly what's going on in the city. That being said, education is key. If you know what you're walking into, I think you're just better prepared. So it just becomes, what am I educating on in the moment versus a different model. I still advertise like crazy for my sellers, and I still advocate just as hard for my buyers.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you being here today and giving us all of your knowledge. It's been such a pleasure.
Thank you.
And I want to go ahead and thank Rick Manning for producing this, and I will be back soon, and Ryan Pulliam will be back next week. Thanks for tuning in to Ticor Title Tuesdays at 2.